Well, welcome back to the Bill Carter interview. I'm really pleased to welcome back a guest who I had a great chat with last year, and he's really one of the most talented guys around because he's a writer, an actor, and of course you know him from his iconic role on X-Files. This is David Duchovny.
Thanks for having me back.
Last year we talked about your novel, Bucky fucking Dent.
I'm glad we can say it here.
We can say
nice.
it. Anyway, I know, exactly.
Yeah.
And this year we're not only going to talk about the fact that the X-Files is back,
right,
but you have an album out.
Yeah.
And for those of us who wonder what our talents are, we wonder how many things can this guy do.
I'm still looking for it. It could be ceramics. I'm not sure.
You know, this is your second album, actually, right?
Yeah.
And I think this, what I've heard of, and I've only heard the one song, Half-Life, which I thought was really good.
Thank you.
Seems like it's a little different direction from your first album.
It's a little heavier, a little harder, I think.
A little more rock.
A little more rock, yeah.
First was a little folky.
Yeah, folky
country,
ballads.
A little bit, yeah. So what inspired that change?
It was more like, it's been a learning process for me as a musician because what I realized doing the first one is, all the songs that I've written are pretty much, just me and a guitar, and I sing the melody, I write the lyric. And then I bring it to the band, and the first album that we did was pretty much true to that form. I mean, some of them are amplified and loud and feel like rockers, but for the most part they sounded like guitar driven kind of music. And then I realized that all these songs, any song you hear on the radio, the producers are so instrumental in just creating like an oral landscape. And why not just branch out? And I would just toss out songs to the guys that I like the sound of. Or a band that I like the production sound of. I'm like, why don't we play around in that area a little bit? And so, because you could turn my songs, which are just guitar songs, into any kind of song that you want it to be.
And so, did you put this band together yourself?
No, it was kind of a blind date kind of a thing. When it was coming time to record the first album, it was Colin Lee and Mitch Stewart and Seb Moda and Pat McCusker and. They knew each other. They'd been in bands together. Yeah. And they kind of came all together to me. And we really kind of jibed and enjoyed each other ever since.
Well, your songs are lyrically complex, I think. Right, and it always makes me think, what came first? Did you write the lyric first?
No, not necessarily. I don't know exactly. I don't think there's ever like a one way that I've done it. Sometimes I'll have just had like a chord progression that I like that I'll hum a melody over, and then maybe I'll think of a snippet of a verse on top of it or a refrain. In a song like Half-Life,
which is kind of based in science,
right. Well, that was kind of like I had a lyrical idea just off of the equivalence of or what Half-Life makes you think of. It is a scientific term, but it also is obviously it could be midlife. It could be losing someone and becoming half of who you were. It was evocative in many different ways to kind of use science that way as a love song.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In this case, it was sort of I've known you half my life. Right. And it sort of makes you think of any long-term relationship.
Right. And then the line, "How can half of everything feel like less than nothing?" That's kind of the vibe of the song.
Yeah. The most interesting thing about this, I think, is that, as I said, you've written 2 novels. You've acted for now how many years? I mean,
a lot of years.
You only took up guitar, what, 3-4 years ago?
Well, it's like 6 years ago now.
6 years ago.
But I'm not a good guitar player. I mean, I wouldn't ever say that I'm a good guitar player. I'm good enough to throw chords together. Yeah, throw chords together. Yeah. But I would encourage anybody to do that. It's like my son is learning guitar.
Well, this is very interesting because I saw a clip of you playing with your son.
Yeah, he's way better than me now.
He's really quite good.
I know. He's going to be good.
How old is he?
He's 15.
Yeah. And he's playing with you. You're playing the rhythm. And
I only play rhythm.
Yeah. And I forget what song it is.
Freebird. He's playing Freebird.
Freebird, right. And he's playing the riff.
I know.
And I personally, when I was young, I tried to play guitar. My son plays guitar. Yeah. He just picked it up, and he's very good at it. Right. But I always had trouble. So he gave me ukulele.
Oh, yeah.
And I can play that. Because it's much easier. It's only 4 strings. And it's, to me, it's ridiculously relaxing.
Yeah. So you just go home and you play a little ukulele?
Yes, and you just get lost as you're doing that. And if it sounds good, it just transports you, right?
Absolutely. that was the original impetus for the whole thing. Was I was just wanting to have something to do in my downtime.
Yeah.
And something that was pleasing to me, and only me, which is why it's odd that it's become something that I actually share with other people, because the whole vibe of it was like, I want to do something that's just for me. I want to do something that's not for sale. I want to do something that I don't have to think about if anybody's going to like it. You know, so I've kind of like perverted the whole enterprise here.
Now you're out there just putting out albums and actually doing a tour.
Very strange. Right? Very strange to do that to myself.
You're touring like in Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Did you sing before, though?
No, not at all.
You hadn't sung in like musicals in school?
The anti-singer. I was the guy, like, you just mouth the words. You David, just... You're a listener. Come, oh, you faithful. Just mouth that Christmas carol, please.
So, again, that took guts then to say...
Yeah, that, if any, you know, of anything that I would, like, give myself credit for in having guts, it would be to sing.
Yeah.
And especially not just to sing... in a studio, because that's somewhat of a controlled environment, and you can do it 1,000 times if you need to. You can even attack it like one note at a time, and they can put it together. Not that that's what I've done, but you're protected.
Yeah,
much like an actor as opposed to stage. You know, you know, you're protected by your editor. You're protected by the fact that you can keep going.
But you're not protected when you toured.
No. So I give myself credit for having guts to do that.
Yeah. Well, I noted the thing with your son, because the other thing I thought about it was it looked, I mean, like a great bonding thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this thing happened with us. He didn't want me to listen to him play forever. You know, like I would like sneak around the corner and like listen to him practicing. And then when we were maybe like a month ago, I was just strumming a new song that I'd written, and you know, I had it on my iPad, and he came over and he kind of flipped the iPad to him, and he grabbed a guitar and he just started playing along with me, which was really beautiful for him to do. You know.
Well, I brought up the bonding because I'm now shifting to coming back and doing X-Files again.
Yeah.
When you're with Jillian, it looks like that bond is very natural and smooth.
Well, we've spent so much time together. We've acted so much together. I mean, it's not a possibility that I'll ever act with anybody as much. No, there's not enough time left in my life to do that. So there's a personal history that's strong. There's a personal history that kind of encompasses this life-changing and career-making enterprise that we did together.
Yeah.
So we have that bond of like having started when we're just kind of individual people and then becoming this huge thing.
Yeah.
And only the other one knows what that's like. And then we have all this acting that we've done together. So I don't think we even try to play any kind of anything. I think we're just able to kind of...
Well, what's interesting to me is it looks like, and I've watched three episodes, that the relationship with Mulder and Scully is like you and Gillian in some ways.
Right.
They kind of love each other.
Right.
They're partners in that way.
Right. Yeah.
You know, in that sort of professional way.
I mean, I remember at one point realizing that the key to, you know, taking care of the relationship for me as an actor was just in the looks. Like if, you know, Mulder and Scully are in a situation, we're getting information, and it was always like the first person I want to look to is like, how are you taking this? You know? And like that to me was always the bond. It was like, we're never looking at anybody else when the scene ends. We're like looking at each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's and they have a communication that I'm sure you probably have with her too. Like you just throw off lines that are just.
Well, I think she's used to it after all these years. That she's used to me saying just about anything.
There's a line where she says something like, "You can do anything with your hand cuffed" or something. Like, you know, that's well, you know me. Or something.
Right. Yeah, so, as if you didn't know.
But so I have to say, so I mean, I've been a huge fan of the show. I've watched probably everything of the show. But when the show comes back this year in the first episode, I don't know what's going on.
Neither do I.
I was going to ask you, have you any idea?
No idea.
What's going on?
No idea.
Yeah, I mean, because I've reached the point where I fully appreciate all the standalone episodes, which are great. Still, the one this doppelganger one, which is the third one, that is a terrific standalone episode. Just a great classic.
It's funny. It's a weird thing that I think Chris Carter has to do, and that we have to do as a show, is we have to address this huge history. Yeah. And unfortunately, it kind of goes down like medicine, you know, like
in a way,
because there's no satisfying end to it. It's too convoluted and big.
Can't possibly tie it all up,
right? So we're in this like impossible enterprise of trying to both remind people of what the hell happened the last 25 years, and to also throw in a few curveballs and twists, which just end up confusing people the more. Right. And people are just sitting there going, "I just want to get to the standalone stuff."
Yeah, well, because like you say, okay, well, here's the smoking man comes back.
Right.
He somehow is involved with Annabeth Gish now. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand that.
I was like, how did he get the voiceover? It's like, when did it become his show?
Yes, and then So last year we saw him. He was smoking through his throat.
Yeah,
he had a tracheotomy.
He got better.
That's gone. There's no scar. Nothing.
Well, there's been some medical advancements you need to know about.
I guess so.
We know about them. You don't.
And he seems to have fathered everyone in the show.
That was news to me.
What's the other thing?
That was news to me.
Yeah. So I mean,
I was not aware.
I don't know how they.
I was not aware of that because I know he's my father.
He's your father. And he's apparently your son's father. I mean, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's true or not. That could be. Who knows?
It's Chinatown.
It is. It's Chinatown. That's basically it.
Leave it alone, Mulder. It's Chinatown.
But you know, when you encounter fans of the show, we used to be crazy. Fans were nuts, right? Yeah. I mean, I can rarely think of a show where people obsessed over it more than yours.
Yeah. I mean, before and also including the beginnings of the internet, it was that show.
Yeah,
that was kind of grew up with the internet.
Yes,
in terms of that kind of focus.
Yes. So was it annoying?
Well, of course it's annoying in some way. You know, before you get to at first there's like shock. Yeah. And then there's something that feels like gratitude, and then there's annoyance, and then you get to real gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, nobody likes to have their life taken away from them in the sense that all anybody can see is one job that you did.
Right.
One audition that I did in a room on the Fox lot in 1993, and then all of a sudden that defines me for the rest of my life. So there's a point in your life where you might bridle against that.
And I would imagine when people would run into you and realize who you were, they'd ask you about the show. They say, well, what about this? What about that? It'd be like, because people were so obsessed with the mythology at some point, you know?
Yeah. And again, I'm like the last person, although I was involved in sometimes writing episodes, and I did get involved in like the mythology at one point. Mm-hmm. But that's so long ago. There's so much super soldiers and this and that that's happened since then.
Yeah.
That I feel sorry for Chris and the writers to have to. It's like they've got they started juggling 2 plates,
right,
and now they've got 40.
But I think their approach now is the right one, which is, let's not be too specific about anything.
Let's just make it fun. Let's just move through it fast.
We'll get through that part.
Yeah.
Then we'll tell some great stories, because the essence of the show is always the great stories.
Right, exactly.
Know, and I mentioned earlier, playing guitar with my son, my son and my daughter used to, every Sunday night, get into bed, the 3 of us. My wife was afraid to watch the show.
Right.
And
really,
the 3 of us would watch episodes every night. And they were like 12 or something.
That's amazing.
And they were afraid of it, and they would snuggle, and the beginnings would be scary,
Yeah,
and
the teaser.
And we did that for years, and it would be like, oh, got to finish homework. We got to get to that Sunday night experience. And it was a great, talk about a bonding thing.
Yeah.
It was a great thing to have done with your kids.
That was before you actually had to be ready for the show when the show was coming on.
Yes, you had to literally sit there and watch the commercials.
See, I think that's good. I kind of missed that.
Oh, I agree. I think that was super.
Now everything is like at your fingertips.
Yes,
it's like you're the boss of the show.
Yeah.
Used to be the show was your boss.
That's right.
The show's going to come on whether or not you're here or not.
Yes, exactly. But it is this iconic thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen lists of the best shows of all time.
Right.
It's always in the top 10 or something.
Right.
You know, and that's something you have to be really proud of.
Oh, I am. I'm very proud of it, and I'm grateful to the people that I was able to work with. I'm grateful, especially to Chris.
Yeah.
For creating a canvas where other people can come and do like really good work.
So I mentioned your novel before,
and
we had a great conversation about that. Bucky fucking Dent, of course, is the famous Yankee who hit the home run to beat the Red Sox. And what's happening with that?
Well, first, oddly, I have to say that Saturday or Sunday, I was just at home, like flipping, like looking for a basketball game, and they were playing Game 6 of the Yankees against the Dodgers in 1978.
Oh,
and
okay.
I got to see a little Bucky Dent.
A little bit of Bucky Dent, yeah.
Well, Bucky Dent, I have financing to make the film this summer, so.
You're going to make a movie of it.
I'm going to make a film of it. I need to cast it, and I need to get going. And
are you going to write it?
It started as a screenplay. So
okay.
the screenplay existed before the novel.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, what I have to do is now figure out if there's stuff in the novel that I like that I actually want to be in the screenplay.
Uh-huh.
You know, that wasn't in the screenplay originally.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have some mixing and melding to do, and then the all important casting.
And you'll direct it?
I'll direct it. I won't act in it.
Yeah. But before that, you'll be on tour.
Yeah, we just a small tour of Australia. Yeah,
that's all.
Just Australia, New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything
go that
in the US.
far. We did the U.S. with the last album, and we will. It's just that this is happening for now.
Yeah. I almost hate to ask this because it's all the other things. Would you be interested in writing another novel now?
Well, I have another one coming out in May.
I knew I was stepping in something.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's called Miss Subways that comes out in May, and I'm interested to see the reaction to that. It's a departure for me in terms of writing.
Well, obviously, the other question I have to ask is because Jillian says no more X-Files.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we sort of assume what
I don't
we're
know.
saying is the end?
I don't know. I mean, I don't like engage in the discussion only because I just want to like enjoy. You know, in a way, I'm not sure if that's kind of like changing the way people are watching these last ones. Right. You know, putting a certain kind of pressure on them, you know, to be an end or is this? So I'd rather that people just kind of experience them as the season that we did. Whether it turns out to be the last season, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be that way today, but
I would have thought that. I would have 10 years ago.
I would have thought that many times. Yeah. I mean, I left the show at the end of 8 years. 8 years. They did another year without me, so I would have thought at that point that I was done. So I don't know.
Yeah, especially because everything comes back these days.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can watch the rest of the season, X-Files, and I'm enjoying what we've seen so far. I encourage fans to go back and watch it. If you think, I don't want to go back to this, go ahead and it's safe. You'll enjoy it. and the album is about. We should say the album is called Every Third Thought.
Every Third Thought.
And I've heard the one song off it. But it's great to talk to you again.
You.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck with the album.
Thank you.